Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Let's get comfortable. Turn off any distractions and just relax. Just sit for a few moments, knowing that all is well in the world, that we're not going to a particular destination. We're actually enjoying the journey. We're having fun along the way. And the more you give yourself permission to enjoy this time, enjoy this life, get emotionally involved in being calm and peaceful and relaxed, and allow everything to come to you. Take a deep breath in and let that go. Your thoughts are energy, and energy is the most powerful energy. Thought energy is so powerful. Your thoughts are going out, and by your emotions, you can tell what you're magnetically attracting to you. We're creating our own reality. The words that you use are so important. Never use words against yourself. When you say, I am, what you say next is what you're bringing into your reality. Try and remember to use words like, I am calm, I am relaxed, I am confident, I am a powerful creator, I am perfectly created in God's image, I am a powerful creator. You hear people all the time saying the opposite. I'm tired, I'm miserable, I'm poor, I'm sick. And they are creating, we are all doing that, creating the likeness of what we are thinking, what we are saying, what we are feeling. We're bringing more and more and more of that energy. And energy only moves in one direction. We want to slow down the momentum of the energy going into crazy, chaotic, all the reasons that we're here, all the things that we don't want, and allow the momentum to go into the idea that life is wonderful, life is beautiful, and be so grateful for this wonderful life, this time and space. As I've been reading Genevieve Behrend in her book, Your Invisible Power, she talks about how to bring the power in your word into action. She says, in every word you use, there is a power germ which expands and projects itself in the direction your word indicates and ultimately develops into physical expression. For example, you wish the consciousness of joy. Repeat the word joy secretly, persistently, and emphatically. The repetition of the word joy sets up a quality of vibration which causes the joy germ to begin to expand and project itself until your whole being is filled with joy. This is not a mere fancy, but a truth. Once you experience this power You will daily prove to yourself that these facts have not been fabricated to fill a theory, but the theory has been built up by careful observation of facts. Everyone knows that joy comes from within, but no one can be joyous for you. Joy is a state of consciousness, and consciousness is purely mental. Thomas Troward says, the mental faculties always work under something which stimulates them, and this stimulus may come either from without through some external senses, or from within by the consciousness of something not perceptible on the physical plane. The recognition of this interior source of stimulus enables you to bring into your consciousness any state you desire. Once a thing seems normal to you, it is surely yours through the law of growth and attraction, as it is yours to no addition after you have learned the use of figures. The method of repeating the word makes the word in all of its limitless meaning yours, because words are the embodiment of thoughts, and thought is creative, neither good nor bad, simply creative. This is the reason why faith builds up and fear destroys. Only believe, and all things are possible unto you. It is faith that gives you dominion over every adverse circumstance or condition. It is your word of faith that sets you free, not faith in any specific thing or act, but simple faith in your best self in all ways. It is this ever-present creative power within the heart of the word that makes your health, your peace of mind, and your financial condition a reproduction of your most habitual thought. I'm going to say that again. It is this ever-present creative power within the heart of the word that makes your health, your peace of mind, and your financial condition a reproduction of your most habitual thought. Try to believe and understand this, and you will find yourself master of every adverse condition or circumstance, for you will become a prince of power. As I said earlier, never use your word against yourself. You don't want to say, I can't do that because I don't have the money. I'm sick, I'm tired, I'm worried, I'm depressed. The dominant thought, the habitual thought, is what you keep creating in your life. So if we're going for something different, we're going for something that we truly want, we must stop the momentum of talking about what we don't yet have, what we don't want, and really focus our attention, our mind, our heart, our breath, our words in the direction of what we really want, and make it habitual, because it is the habitual dominant thoughts that are creating what's going on in our life. So to go after what we really want, we must be focused that that's what I really want. Get a clear picture and feel what it would feel like when you're already there, to the point that when it shows up, it's just you, it's normal, you knew it, it was bound to happen. There's not some trumpets blaring and ta-da, it's here on a silver platter. No, you grow and develop into it, and as it shows up, it's just your life. You've grown and developed into the person that has the perfect health or the $1 million or the business all over the world. Whatever it is, you must feel into it. And Genevieve Behrend says, but you ask, how can I speak the word of faith when I have little or no faith? Every living thing has faith in something or somebody. Faith is that quality of power which gives the creative energy a corresponding vitality. And the vitality in the word of faith you use causes it to take corresponding physical form. Even intense fear is alive with faith. You fear the COVID virus because you believe it is possible for you to contract it. You fear poverty and loneliness because you believe them possible for you. It is the faith which understands that every creation had its birth in the womb of thought words that give you dominion over all things, your lesser self included. And this feeling of faith is increased and intensified through observing what it does. Your constant observation should be of your state of consciousness when you did not what you hoped you might, but feared it was too good to be true. How did you feel that time when you simply had to bring yourself into a better frame of mind, and you did? Or you had to have a certain thing and you got it. Live these experiences over and over again mentally until you really feel in touch with the self which knows and does. And then the best there is yours. So that's what we're practicing every day. That's why we're watching Bob every single day. We're watching the video, we're reading the lesson. We're not thinking linear about the future, but we can think leaps, expect the unexpected, because when you really are going after what you really want, and you quietly get into that frame of mind, you block out the outside distractions, you block out your inner voice. I can't, I won't, I shouldn't, it's not good enough, I'm not worthy. When you just get into the feeling that what you want is yours already, and you do the exercises, this strategy turns your dream into a physical realization. Bob Proctor has taken the natural laws of the universe that he studied for 60 years and put them into a step-by-step format that as we follow it and as we develop our faith in ourselves and knowing what we really want and feeling that it is mine, I am worthy, it's here now. You're seeing the picture in your mind of what it is. That means it is potential. We turn the potential into reality at the last stage. Everything starts in the mind. And when we get our mind and our heart and our body into alignment, that's when everything shows up that we can show to other people, the physical realm. We take the spiritual essence, and with our intellect and with our physical being, we bring it into physical manifestation. Genevieve says, this is the reward of increased faith. Your desire to be your best has expanded your faith into the faith of the universe, which knows no failure and has brought you into conscious realization that you are not a victim of the universe, but a part of the universe. Consequently, you are able to recognize that there is that within yourself which is able to make conscious contact with the universal law and enables you to press all the particular laws of nature, visible or invisible, into serving your particular demand or desire. Thereby you find yourself master, not slave of any situation. Troward tells us that this mastering is to be accomplished by knowledge, and the only knowledge which will afford this purpose in all its measureless immensity is the knowledge of the personal element in universal spirit and its reciprocity to our own personality. In other words, the words you think, the personality you feel yourself to be, are all reproductions in miniature of God or specialized universal spirit. All your word thoughts were God word forms before they were yours. The words you use are the instruments, the channels through which the creative energy takes form. Naturally, this sensitive creative power can only reproduce in accordance with the instrument through which it passes. So your body is the instrument. Your body is the instrument of your mind. Your body, what you do with your fingers, with your hands, with your legs, the actions that you take, the instrument of universal energy turning things into form through your instrument, through your body. We're taking imagination, we're taking spirit, we're taking universal power, and by our own words, by our own actions, creating our reality. All disappointments and failures are the result of endeavoring to think one thing and produce another. This is just as impossible as it would be for an electric fan to be used for lighting purposes, or water to flow through a crooked pipe in a straight line. The water flowing through the pipe must take the shape of the pipe through which it flows. Even more truly, this sensitive, invisible substance must reproduce outwardly the shape of the thought word through which it passes. This is the law of its nature. Therefore, it logically follows, as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he becomes. When your thought or word form is in correspondence with the eternal, constructive, and forward movement of the universal law, then your mind is the mirror in which the infinite power and intelligence of the universe sees itself reproduced, and your individual life becomes one of harmony. So Genevieve goes on to say how to make nature respond to you. It should be steadily borne in mind that there is an intelligence and power in all nature and all space, which is always creative and infinitely sensitive and responsive. The responsiveness of its nature is twofold. It is creative and amenable to suggestion. Once the human understanding grasps this all-important fact, it realizes the simplicity with which the law of life supplies your every demand. All that is necessary is to realize that your mind is a center of divine operation and consequently contains that within itself which accepts suggestions and expect all life to respond to your call. Then you will find suggestions which tend to the fulfillment of your desire coming to you, not only from other people, but also from the flowers, the grass, the trees, the rocks, which will enable you to fulfill your heart's desire if you act upon them in confidence on this physical plane. Faith without works is dead, but faith with works sets you absolutely free. It is said of Tyson, the great Australian millionaire, that the suggestion to make the desert land of Australia blossom as the rose came to him from a modest little Australian violet while he was working as a bushman for something like 3 shillings a day. He used to find these friendly little violets growing in certain places in the woods, and something in the flower touched something akin of itself in the mind of Tyson. He would sit on the side of his bunk at night and wonder how flowers and vegetable life could be given an opportunity to express themselves in the desert land of Australia. No doubt he realized it would take a long time to save enough money to put irrigating ditches in the desert lands, but his thought and feeling assured him it could be accomplished, and if it could be done, he could do it. If there was a power within himself which was able to capture the idea, then there must be a responsive power within the idea itself, which could bring itself into a practical physical manifestation. He resolutely put aside all questions as to the specific ways and means which would be employed in bringing his desire into physical manifestation, but simply kept his thought centered upon the idea of making fences and seeing flowers and grass where none existed at the time. Since the responsiveness of reproductive creative power is not limited to any local condition of mind, his habitual meditation and mental picture set his ideas free to roam in the infinite, in infinitude, and attract to themselves other ideas of a kindred nature. Therefore, it was not necessary for Tyson to wait until he had saved from his 3 shillings a day enough money to irrigate the land to see his ideas and desires fulfilled, for his ideas found other ideas in the financial world which were attuned in sympathy with themselves, and doors of finance were quickly opened. All charitable institutions are maintained upon the principle of the responsiveness of life. If this were not true, no one would care to give simply because another needed. The law of demand and supply, the law of cause and effect, can never be broken. Ideas attract to themselves kindred ideas. Sometimes they come from a flower, a book, or out of the invisible. You are intent upon an idea not quite complete as to the ways and means of fulfillment, and behold, another idea comes from no one can tell from where, and find friendly lodging with your idea, one idea attracting another, and so on, until your desires are physical facts. You may feel the necessity for improvement in your finances and wonder how this increase is to be brought about. when it seems suddenly to come from an idea within itself, the realization that everything, including money, had its birth in thought, and your thoughts turn their course. You simply hold to the statement or affirmation that the best and all there is yours. Since you are able to capture ideas from the infinite through the instrument of your intuition and let your mind rest upon that thought, knowing well that this very thought will respond to itself. Your inhibition of all doubt and anxiety enables the reassuring ideas to establish themselves and attract to them I can and I will ideas, which gradually grow into the physical form of the desire in your mind. In the conscious use of the universal power to reproduce your desires in physical form, 3 facts should be borne in mind. First, all space is filled with a creative power. Second, this creative power is amenable to suggestion. And third, it can only work by deductive methods. Troward tells us this last is exceedingly important point, for it implies that the action of the ever-present creative power is in no way limited by precedent. It works according to the essence of the spirit of the principle. In other words, this universal power takes its creative direction from the word you give it. Once man realizes this great truth, the character with which this sensitive reproductive power is invested becomes the most important of all his considerations. As the unvarying law of creative life principle that as this man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you realize the truth that this creative power can be to you only what you feel and think it is to be, it is willing and able to meet your demands. Troward says, if you think your thought is powerful, your thought is powerful. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, is the law of life. And the creative power can no more change this law than an ordinary mirror can reflect back to you a different image than the object you hold before it. As you think, so are you does not mean as you tell people you think, or as you wish the world to believe you think. It means your innermost thoughts, that place where no one but you know. None can know the Father save the Son, and no one can know the Son but the Father. Only the reproductive creative spirit of life knows what you think until your thoughts become physical facts and manifest themselves in your body, your brain, or your affairs. Then everyone with whom you come into contact may know, because the intelligent, creative energy which heareth in secret your most secret thoughts, rewards you openly, reproduces your thoughts in physical form. As you think, that is what you become, should be kept in the background of your mind constantly. This is watching and praying without ceasing. And when you are not quite feeling up to par physically, pray. First thing in the morning is the best time to go into this sort of meditation. And before you retire at night, before you go to sleep, if you just get into the calmness of what do I love? What would I prefer? What are my inner thoughts? And as you feel content and peaceful and calm and prosperous and healthy and wealthy, as you think, you are. The words that you say are what you become. So it is 7:30. If you choose, meet me back here at 9 o'clock this morning, and we will go through our last lesson, lesson 12, magnifying the mind, the secret to increasing the power of your mind. And I will see you back here again tomorrow morning at 7. So as you're thinking, as you're writing out your goal, as you're using the words as if it's already happened, putting it into detail and feeling it, that's how your dream will manifest into reality. So create a wonderful day. I'll see you back here on this Zoom link at 9 today and 7 tomorrow morning. And anyone who is visiting, you are welcome to attend at 9 this morning. Thank you for joining me.